Disney just had its D23 conference where they revealed trailers, posters, announced cast for a whole bunch of upcoming projects for film, TV, and even for the theme parks. But I dare say that one of the biggest things that got released right out of D23 was the trailer for the live action remake of Snow White. And let me tell you, from my perspective, it looks like it has garnered the wrong kind of attention. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I drop a new video, and consider becoming a channel member. Yeah, it apparently is very, 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 very true that the weird trailer for Snow White has officially dropped. Now, this live action remake was supposed to come out much earlier than 2025, but it kept getting delayed, partially because of leaks, of bad publicity, thanks to their star Rachel Zegler just running off on her mouth saying all kinds of crazy things, criticizing the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the animated feature film that Walt Disney himself had a hand in making. She decided to criticize it. She called the prince a stalker. She said it freaked her out, just disparaging the original film. And it apparently has leaked over into now the released teaser trailer. I had the privilege, I guess, of watching the teaser trailer. And I have to say, it's not as bad as people are making it, but it does highlight a lot of problems with the film. For one thing, the CGI looks very cartoonish, and I don't mean that as a compliment. It's not cartoonish in the sense that it's 3D assets and then they have a 2D overlay like what they did with the Tom and Jerry modern remake. Instead, they could have, built sets, they could have shot on location. Instead, it is obvious that most of the scenes were shot to green screen, and the special effects people, let's just say I'm not impressed. They had a whole opportunity here, but every scene looked like it was just CGI junk all over again. And I'm a proponent of CGI as a tool to complement the film. It shouldn't overtake the film. And this teaser trailer definitely showed that. But that's just one problem with it. The second is the miscasting of Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot should have been Snow White. They could have just not mentioned her age at all. I know in Hollywood, they have these ridiculous expiration dates on actresses, especially ones that are Israeli, but that is foolish, it's stupid, and it's dumb. Gal Gadot is a beautiful woman, and she should have been Snow White. Instead, we've got Rachel Ziegler. George the Giant Slayer, a fellow YouTuber, he did a cut of it where, because in the teaser there's a scene where Gal Gadot approaches the mirror and says, the magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. And then it cuts to Rachel Zegler and he put a laugh track over it. That was actually pretty clever. And I'm not saying that Rachel Zegler is not a beautiful young woman. I'm not saying that at all. But come on, when you see her, she's supposed to be, you know, Snow White. She's supposed to be beautiful. And when you have the way they did her makeup and her hair, now her dress was fine. They did a good job of replicating the dress from the animated film, but they just didn't try. It's like they intentionally tried to make her less beautiful than her evil stepmother. And that really confuses me. I still think that Gal Gadot should have portrayed Snow White, and they should have gotten a different actress for the evil stepmother, but that's besides the point. The third thing I noticed about the trailer is, well, the Seven Dwarves are back. Because remember, Peter Dinklage, who, by the way, isn't the only actor with dwarfism, but he decided to speak up for his whole community, and he criticized Disney for for wanting to put dwarves in Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Which, by the way, the dwarves in Snow White are magical beings from fantasy fairy tales and literature. Think Lord of the Rings. They're not people with dwarfism. It's not the same thing. And Peter Dinklage had no right to speak for his community and to criticize Disney. As a result, Disney just said, hey, we're not going to cast any actors with dwarfism, which would have been perfect for this film, but they didn't do that. And at first, they were just going to do seven magical creatures. And then that ugly photo leaked where it had 7 random people who looked like they just came from one of Gavin Newsom's homeless encampments. Instead, that photo got leaked, and Disney went into damage control. They said that these were just stand-ins. They weren't actually representative of what was going on, and no one believes them, by the way. But according to this new teaser trailer, they're going to be CGI dwarves. Thank you, Peter Dinklage. I hope you are happy with the 7 jobs you cost actors with dwarfism. And I'm not the only one who's criticizing Peter Dinklage. People within the dwarfism community have come out against what he said. Yes, duh. Those are the 3 problems I had with it. I wonder what you think. Let me know in the comments below. But this also goes to a broader problem that Disney has. These live action remakes, they're not popular. In fact, only 2 of them were any good, that being Cinderella and Lady and the Tramp. Those 2 films were actually pretty good live action remakes. The Lion King was just basically a shot for shot remake with a couple of added scenes, just with Beyonce and CGI. And because they were CGI, they couldn't emote. The animals, I mean, they couldn't emote properly because they made them look too realistic. That's what's so great about 2D animation, which Disney desperately needs to get back to. It was their bread and butter, and this reliance on cheap CGI. It was kind of an interesting experiment when they bought Pixar, but those days are long gone, and it can't leak over into the live action like it did with Snow White. It just doesn't make sense. I honestly think that the damage is already done. Even when the full trailer comes out, we're able to actually see a story instead of just a bunch of cutscenes like how this teaser was. I just don't think that people are going to be interested. I think Rachel Zegler, who seems like just kind of your typical kind of diva celebrity, I just think that damage has done and that it hurt the film overall. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe when the full trailer comes out, people are going to flock to the theaters in 2025 to see it. But I think Disney has overplayed their hand, especially with what they did with Wish, how they rewrote and took the romance completely out of that movie. They made it an evil king. Nothing wrong with that. But in the original story, the queen was also supposed to be evil. We would have had a really awesome evil power couple in that movie. We would have had a great romantic story arc. But because of DEI and wokeness and political correctness, they had to change it. And that change happened to Snow White as well. That's why you've got Rachel Zegler calling the prince weird whenever she talks about him, while you have Gal Gadot trying to do a little bit of damage control, but also parodying she's not going to be saved by the prince. Why not? I think that's a great storyline. There's nothing wrong with a prince rescuing a princess, and also there's nothing wrong with a female power fantasy. But Snow White isn't a female power fantasy. It's a fairy tale. It's a work of fiction. It's folklore. It's meant to have a moral message to it about being tricked, about being deceived, about jealousy. In fact, in the original fairy tale, it was not an evil stepmother that put Snow White into a coma. It was actually her mother. It was even darker, just a cautionary tale. And it's a shame that Disney has moved away of telling these timeless moral classics and into this era where it's just all about political correctness and slay queen kind of moments. I think that, considering everything I've said about this teaser trailer, I honestly think that this film is not going to do good, but we'll wait and see. I could be wrong. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and subscribe, whatever platform you're on. If you're on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications whenever I drop a new video, and also consider becoming a channel member where you get all kinds of cool perks. Now, if you're watching, whether it be here on YouTube or here on Rumble or here on Odyssey or whatever it is, and you're like, I don't want to support you with big tech, don't worry. Click on the link to my locals community. It's in the description. You can support me there by becoming a monthly subscriber or giving me tips. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Also, consider purchasing my latest novel, Blessed Child. It's a novella. It's a fantasy romance. I think you will enjoy it. There's nothing woke or politically correct in it. You can just enjoy it for the story. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on StudioJake.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die